Hey guys, hi, welcome back. So in the previous video, we have discussed about the heat engine. We have seen the law of thermodynamics, the second law. We have discussed the Kelvin and Planck statement, the Clausius statement, the equivalence of both the statement, and also the principle of increase of entropy. In this video, we shall discuss about the Carnot cycle. We will see the efficiency of the Carnot cycle, and with it, what we will discuss about the Carnot theorem, and also we will discuss about refrigerator, and then we will solve a few problems. So now let's start with the first topic, that is the Carnot cycle. So what is the definition of the Carnot cycle, that we will see first. A Carnot cycle, it is defined as an reversible thermodynamic cycle in which there are four operations, and the four operations are isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, adiabatic compression. And during these operations, the expansion and compression of substance can be done up to the desired point and can be back to the initial state. So Carnot cycle is what? It is a reversible thermodynamical cycle in which there are different processes or different operations, reversible operations, which is done to up to a desired point and it is coming back to the initial state. And the operations which involves in Carnot cycle are isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, and adiabatic compression. So this is what a Carnot cycle is. Now we will see a figure, the PV diagram we will see to understand what actually happens in a Carnot cycle. So you see here, so these are the different states A, B, C, D. All right. So at the point A, pressure is PA, volume is VA. At the point B, pressure is PB, volume is VB. Similarly in C, the pressure is PC, the volume is VC. And if you see the point D, here the pressure is PD and the volume is VD. Now you see the first is the isothermal expansion. All right. So from A to B, the expansion is what? Isothermal. That means the temperature is constant, T1. Then when it comes from B to C, it is an adiabatic expansion. That means there will be no exchange of heat. All right. Now again from C to D, it is isothermal compression. So the temperature will be constant. It will be T2, right? And then from D to A, it is adiabatic compression. So there here also no exchange of heat. All right. So you see here this PV diagram, it is just giving you a brief that how the Carnot cycle works. First there is isothermal expansion, then adiabatic expansion, then isothermal compression, and then adiabatic compression. All right. When we are talking about the isothermal process, their temperature will be constant, and when we are talking about adiabatic expansion and compression, there is no exchange of heat. And now we will see a figure that will explain these things more clearly, that how the isothermal expansion happens and what is the working of this Carnot cycle. Now let's see the figure, and it will make us explain more easily what actually happens in a Carnot cycle. So you see this is a hollow cylinder, and the working substance, it is an ideal gas. Now you see the walls of this hollow cylinder, they are perfectly non-conducting. Perfectly non-conducting means there will be no exchange of heat through the walls of the cylinder. And the base of the cylinder, it is conducting. That means through the base of the cylinder, heat can be transferred and it can be also accepted. It can give heat, it can take heat. All right. And this cylinder, it is having a piston. The piston is frictionless and insulated. That means the piston, it will not cause any change in the heat transfer of the system. It will not have any effect. All right. Now you see it is having three elements: the heat source, stand, and the heat sink. The heat source, it is at temperature T1 Kelvin, and the heat sink, it is at temperature T2 Kelvin. Remember that the source temperature, it is greater than the sink temperature, and the base of the source is conducting and the base of the sink is also conducting. But in the stand, there is a stand, the base of the stand is non-conducting. All right. Now we will see why it is non-conducting, because when there will be adiabatic compression or expansion, in that case there should be no change in heat. So at that time this particular working substance, it is placed on what? It is placed on the stand. So since the base of the cylinder is conducting, so if the stand's base will be conducting, then there cannot be adiabatic expansion or compression. So this is the reason that it is non-conducting. And it is conducting because you see, when the working substance will be placed on the source, that it is a heat source, so there must be what transfer of heat from the source to the working substance. Then its temperature will what decrease, and this temperature will remain constant because there will be what heat transfer. If it is absorbing, if it is transferring heat, it can, there can be exchange of heat from both the sides, yes or no. So the when you will, when this temperature, when this working, sorry, heat source will transfer heat to the working substance, they will come to an equilibrium state, and the temperature of the working substance will become what, it will become T1 Kelvin, right? Then some amount of work will be done, and the remaining heat, the rejected heat, it will be transferred to what, it will be transferred into the sink, right? So this is what happens, Q1 amount of heat will be transferred to the working substance, then it will do some amount of mechanical work, and the heat rejected, it is transferred to the heat sink. This is what happens. Now you see, we will see how isothermal expansion happens, how isothermal adiabatic expansion happens, and all these things. Now you see, first of all, when initially at the point A, okay, at the initial state, this working substance is placed on the heat source. All right, when it is placed on the heat source, this particular working substance is placed on the heat source, and we know at the point A the pressure was PA, the volume was VB. All right, when it is placed on this particular heat source, this is the first state, at the initial A state. Now you see, it will have isothermal expansion. That means the piston will be moved what? Upward. That means the working substance pressure is decreased, right? When the piston will move upward, when this particular process will be what? Isothermal expansion. When it will go from the state A to the state B. So there is what? Isothermal expansion. Isothermal expansion means what? The temperature T1, it will be constant. Yes or no? Because the temperature of the heat source is T1. So T1 will remain constant. There will be transfer of heat. Yes or no? From A to B position. So when it will reach the B position, then it will be reaching again to, from B to C, it will come through what? Then it will have what? Adiabatic expansion. Adiabatic expansion means there should not be any amount of heat exchange. So you see, in that case, this working substance is placed on the stand, right? Now you see the temperature here, it was what? T1. Now you see, this time the working substance will do the work by itself. So the temperature will reduce, yes or no? And it will reach to what? T2. The temperature will now become what? T2. Now you see, this working substance is placed on the stand, and adiabatic expansion happens. So there will be no exchange of heat. All right. Now you see, again from the state C, it will go to the state what? D. And here what it will happen? It is now isothermal compression. That means now the piston will be moved downward. That means the pressure of the working substance is now increased. So here isothermal compression means the temperature from B to C, when it was moving from the process B to the process C, means when it was having adiabatic expansion, the temperature has reduced to T2. That is the temperature of the sink, right? So this temperature will now remain constant. Temperature will be T2, and this time the process will go from the state C to the state D. All right. And now what will happen? There can be exchange of heat. So this working substance is placed on what? It is placed on the sink this time. All right. There can be exchange of heat, but the temperature will remain constant. Next, you see, when it will go from the state D to the state A, then it will have what? Adiabatic compression, right? Adiabatic compression means what? Now there should not be any exchange of heat. So this working substance will be now placed on the stand, and since it is non-conducting, there will be no exchange of heat, right? So again, it will come back to its what? Original state. So this is how the isothermal expansion happens, adiabatic expansion, then isothermal compression, and the adiabatic compression. Expansion means the piston is move upward. All right, expansion means the piston will be moved upward. That means the working substance pressure is decreased. And compression means the piston will be moved downward. That means now the pressure is increased. All right, when you will have isothermal expansion, In that case, the temperature is what? Constant. So the internal energy will be what? 0. Now we will calculate the work done for each cases. All right. First, we will see for isothermal expansion. We have already said from A to B, it is having what? Isothermal expansion. That means the temperature is constant. Here I have written also working substance is doing the external work on the piston. All right. And takes heat from the source and the temperature is constant. These things I have explained, so I will not repeat these words. I will just say the mathematical things. Now you see temperature is constant. That means the internal energy change will be what? 0. So when you will write the first law of thermodynamics, you know dq is equals to du plus dw. Du is 0, so dq will be equals to what? Pdv. Now we have already seen the work done. W, it is equals to what? Pdv. W is equals to what? Pdv. Yes or no? Pdv means what? The area under the curve. Now you see what is, I have already said this in the theory also, but here I will show you what is the area under the curve. What does it mean? If you will see from what? B to C, in that case from this point to this point, this area. Again from C to D and D to A. This is how you can take the area under the curve. All right. Now you see you can write P integration of what? dV. All right, this is the work done W1 because this is for what? This is for the initial state A. Now you see we have ideal gas as the working substance. So if I take for 1 mole of a gas, PV is equals to nRT, right? So you can write what? P will be equals to nRT by V. N is equals to 1, so P is equals to what? RT by V. So if I substitute the value here, it is RT by V. Now you see temperature was what? T1, because for isothermal the temperature was constant T1, so it is T1 here. And the state is from A to B, dV by V. When you will take the integration of this term, you will get what? Ln V, and it will be integration limit will be what? From VA to VB. So you will have Ln VB by VA. So this is W1. W1 is equals to RT1 Ln VB by VA. All right. So this is the work done for isothermal expansion. Now we will see adiabatic expansion. This time the working substance is placed on the what? Stand, and there is no exchange of heat. That means the substance is allowed to expand adiabatically. This time what will happen? The working substance is doing work by itself. All right. Now you see W2 can be written as integration of B to C PdV. Now you see we have the adiabatic equation PV to the power gamma is equals to constant. And if you will see, when you will see this curve, na, this B point, it is coming same, na, because we were having the curve to be something like this, right? This is A, this is B, this is C. If you see this B, C and this AC, these curves are at the same point. So you can write what? PV to the PBV to V to the power gamma, it is equals to PCVC to the power gamma. It is equals to K. I have considered the constant K. You can consider any other constant. Now you see when you will put the value of the pressure here, then it will be what? K integration B to C dV by V to the power gamma. So when you will do the integration, then you will get the work done W2, it is equals to K is the constant term outside. Here you will have VB to the power 1 minus gamma minus VC to the power 1 minus gamma divided by gamma minus 1. All right. Is it clear to you? Next, you see, when you will do this complete calculation, then you will get the W2 is equals to what? This is VB to the power 1 minus gamma. K is equals to what? PV to the power gamma. So this will be what? PB VB to the power gamma. This will be PC VC to the power gamma. And when you will say do simplify, then you will get it to be what? PB VB minus PC VC divided by gamma minus 1. Now you see PV BV. PV is equals to what? RT for ideal gas. So you can write what? R, you see at the point B, at this point B, for the first case, the temperature was T1. For the second case, the temperature was what? T2. So you will write R T1 minus T2 divided by gamma minus 1. So this is the work done for adiabatic expansion. All right. This is how you can find. Now we will see isothermal compression. This time again there will be conduction of heat. Yes or no? Now this time the working substance is placed on the sink. Now W3 is calculated as integration of PdV. Work done is what? From C to D. So when you will calculate, you will get W3 is equals to, similar way as you have done the isothermal expansion, you will get minus RT2 ln Vc by Vd. All right, here I have written also, it is giving compressed isothermal. Gas is this time compressed isothermally. It is placed on the sink. Now heat is rejected towards sink, and now work done is this on the system. All right. Next, you see, last is the adiabatic compression. Now, again, adiabatic compression means what? The working substance will be placed on the stand because there will be no exchange of heat, right? Again, the temperature will increase and it will reach to its initial state. So you can write here W4, the work done for the state what? W D2A. All right. So D2A, it is equals to PdV. And when you will calculate similar way of calculation as you have done the adiabatic expansion, you will get the work done will be minus R T1 minus T2 by gamma minus 1. So these are the four operations through, and of all the four operations we have seen the work done. Now we will find the net work done. The net work done will be sum of all the four, W1, W2, W3, W4. Yes or no? Now you see, when you will do the sum, you can see this is W1, this is W2, this is W3, this is W4. You see, this is plus R by gamma minus 1 T1 minus T2. This is minus R by gamma minus 1 T1 minus T2. Means this is what? Adiabatic expansions work done. This is adiabatic compression work done. So both of that will get cancelled, and you will have the work done is equals to RT1 ln VA by VB minus RT2 ln VC by VD. Now you see here what you will see, adiabatic and you can write T1 by T2 whole to the power 1 by gamma minus 1, it is equals to Vc by Vb. Similarly, if you see for D2A, you will get what? Vd by Va, it is equals to T1 by T2 to the power 1 by gamma minus 1. Now you see Vd by Va is also equals to T1 by T2 to the power 1 by gamma minus 1. Vc by Vb is also equals to same. That means what? Vc by Vb, it will be equals to what? Vd by Va, comparing. And then you can write Vc by Vd, it is equals to what? Vb by Va. Yes or no? That means if you write here instead of what? Vc by Vd, if you write Vb by Va, that is what you are supposed to write. Now you see, when you will do that, you will get the work done W, it is equals to what? T1 minus T2 ln Vb by Va. Yes or no? This is what you will get. Now you see, this is the work done in case of the Carnot cycle. Now we will calculate the efficiency. We have already seen the formula for efficiency is what? Work output divided by heat input. So work input output is how much? W. Heat input is what? Q1. Now you see the value of work output is RT1 minus T2 ln Vb by Va. This one. And this work done, na, it is what? The work done which is converting what? The heat change na, from Q1 to Q1 minus Q2. Work done is converted from what? Q1 minus Q2 heat change. Yes or no? Now you see Q1 is what? RT1 ln Vb by Va. So this Vb by Va and this Vb by Va will get cancelled. R and R will also get cancelled. And finally you will get the efficiency eta for the Carnot cycle to be how much? 1 minus T2 by T1. Remember this T2, it is the temperature of the sink. T1 is the temperature of the source. This is very important. Remember, don't remember T2 by T1. Remember that the efficiency of Carnot engine eta it is equals to 1 minus temperature of sink divided by temperature of source. All right. So this is all about the Carnot cycle. It is very clear to you. So this is the complete. Yeah, I have written the points here. When I was explaining, I did not go to one each point, but these things I have written also, that an adiabatic expansion where the working substance is placed. These things I have written so that it will help you to make a proper note. So you can note it down. Now after this we will see the Carnot theorem. Now you see, what does the Carnot theorem says? Carnot theorem says that any system working between two given temperature, T1, the temperature of the hot reservoir, and T2, the temperature of the cold reservoir, can never have an efficiency more than the Carnot engine working between the same reservoirs respectively. It says that any system which is working between two bodies, okay, hot reservoir and cold reservoir, If any system, if you place any other system between these two hot reservoirs, no other system can be more efficient than when a Carnot engine is working between these two reservoirs. All right. And also it is said the efficiency of this engine, the efficiency of the Carnot engine, it is what? It is independent of the working substance, and also it is independent, or it is depending upon only the hot and cold reservoirs. All right, so you see here efficiency, this eta, you can see here, this is the temperature of the sink, this is the temperature of the source. That means the efficiency of Carnot engine, it is depending upon the temperature of the source and the sink. It is not depending upon the working substance. This is the first thing. Second thing, you see, if you want the efficiency to be what? 1, then means the efficiency should be what? 100%. For that, what you will have to do to get the efficiency to be 100%, either you have to take this T2, the temperature of the sink, to be 0, or you have to make the temperature of the source to be infinite. So both are not possible. So no engine is what? 100% efficient. This is the first conclusion that you will get from the efficiency. This is the first thing, okay? No engine is what? 100% efficient. The second is what? The Carnot engine's efficiency, it is independent of the working substance, and it is depending upon the temperature of the source and sink. All right, so these are the things that you have to remember. Clear? And next one thing you see here, in case of this Carnot theorem, this is Carnot theorem. Till here it is clear. Now we will see how a refrigerator works. Okay, it is clear about the Carnot theorem. Carnot theorem just it says that between two reservoir, okay, one is hot reservoir, one is cold reservoir, between that no other system will be efficient more than that of a Carnot engine working between the same reservoirs. All right, so Carnot engine is having the maximum efficiency compared to all other engine, it is said. Now we will see the refrigerator. When you are talking about the refrigerator, you see refrigerator, it is what? It is the reverse of the heat engine. All right, it is the reverse of the heat engine. Now you see here, in case of heat engine, what happens? First of all, this is the heat source, this is the heat sink. So the working substance is taking Q1 amount of heat from the heat source, and it does some mechanical work. After doing the mechanical work, some amount of heat is rejected, and that rejected heat is transferred to heat sink, right? So this is how a heat engine works. Now it is said that the refrigerator is working as the reverse of heat engine. That means what? Firstly, what will happen? Some external agency will do some work, and when this work will be done, then from the heat sink, Q2 amount of heat will be transferred to the what? To the source. Yes or no? So you can say here Q1, it is equals to what? Q2 plus W. So this is the refrigerator and this is the heat engine. You have to remember that in case of refrigerator, heat is transferred from the cold body to a hot body by doing some external work. And in case of heat engine, what? From a hot body, some amount of heat is transferred to the working substance. It does some mechanical work, and then the remaining heat, it is rejected to the heat sink. So this is how a refrigerator works. Clear? Now we will see, as we are looking the what? Efficiency in case of what? Heat engine. In case of Carnot engine, here we will see the coefficient of performance. All right, when you will see the coefficient of performance, it is equals to amount of heat absorbed divided by what? Work done. The amount of heat absorbed is what? Q2. The amount of work done is what? W. Now you see Q2, it is as it is, work done is equals to what? Q1 minus Q2, because you see Q1 is equals to what? Q2 plus W. From here you can write work done will be equals to what? Q1 minus Q2. Yes or no? So I'm writing here work done is Q1 minus Q2. All right. So you see the work performance or the coefficient of performance of refrigerator, it can be more than 100%. But in case of what? The efficiency of the Carnot engine, it cannot be more than 100%, right? It cannot be 100% efficient. Now, if you see the PV diagram of what? Refrigerator. So you see it is working as the reverse of the heat engine. So you can see here what will happen. The same graph will be there. Okay, the same graph it will be there, but the arrow sign will be in the opposite direction because it is the reverse of the heat engine. Clear? Now let's see a few problems related to all the topics that we have studied. So the first question here is what? A reversible Carnot engine It is operated between temperature T1 and T2. A reversible Carnot engine is there. It is operated between temperature T1 and T2. Here it is said T2 is greater than T1 with a photon gas as working substance. So the efficiency of the engine is what? Working substance is photon gas. Reversible engine is working between temperature T1 and T2. Here T2 is greater than T1. So you have to see the efficiency of the engine. So the first thing that we know, what is the formula for efficiency of the Carnot engine? We will see the efficiency of Carnot engine. It is equals to what? Eta, it is equals to 1 minus what? Here it was temperature of sink. That means what? The lower temperature divided by what? Temperature of source. Yes or no? This was the lower temperature. This was the higher temperature. Here you see, it is said T2 is greater than T1. That means the temperature of the source is what? T2. And the temperature of the sink is how much? It is T1. So you will write here, eta is equals to what? T1 by T2. Clear? This is the temperature of the sink. This is the temperature of the source. Always remember, whenever you are remembering the efficiency of the Carnot engine, remember that in the numerator you are having the temperature of the sink, that is the lower temperature, and in the denominator you are having temperature of the source, because just remembering T1 by T2 it will create mistake. Okay, so your answer will be option B. Now one more thing to note here, it is that working substance, if you see the efficiency, is the efficiency depending upon the working substance? And also in the theory part I have said you that the efficiency of the Carnot engine, it is independent of the working substance. So it doesn't matter the working substance is a photon gas or any other working substance. It is only depending upon the heat temperature of the sink and the temperature of the source. All right. So we have seen the correct option is option B. Now let's come to the next question. A Carnot engine operates between a heat source at 500 Kelvin. Heat source is what? 500 Kelvin. And a sink at 300 Kelvin. So the temperature of source and sink is given. Between this temperature, a Carnot engine is operating. The temperature of the source is increased by 20 Kelvin. So here it is said, after that what happens? The temperature of the source is increased by 20 Kelvin. In order that the efficiency of the engine remains unchanged, the temperature of the sink should be changed by how much? So it is said, so that efficiency is not what? Changing. There should be no change in the efficiency. For that, what should be the change in the sink? So let's see the question once again. It is said a Carnot engine, it is operating between heat source 500 Kelvin and heat sink is 300 Kelvin. And it is said that the temperature of the source, it is increased by 20 Kelvin. So you have to say by how much the temperature of the sink should increase so that the efficiency of the engine will remain same. First thing is that whenever the temperature of sink and source will be increased or decreased, the efficiency will have some effect. So here we have to see that without affecting the efficiency, how much sink temperature we need to increase. So first let's see what is given to us. Okay, so the first thing that we have to remember, we have to take that the efficiency in both the cases, E1 must be equals to E2. All right, now what is other thing, what it is given to you? The temperature of the what? The temperature of the source, matlab T1. Yes or no? T1 it is given to you how much? 500 Kelvin. The temperature of the source is T2. It is given to you 300 Kelvin. Right. Now you see, this is for the first case. This is for the first case. For the first case, the efficiency is this one. And if I write E1 is equals to what? 1 minus what? Temperature of the what? Sink, that is T2. T2 by T1. And E2 if I consider to be 1 minus what? T2 prime by T1 prime. Alright. Now you see here, temperature of the source, it is given to you. That means what is given to you? T1 it is given to you. T1 prime it is given to you how much? By 20 Kelvin it is increased. By 20 Kelvin it is increased means what? 500 Kelvin was the initial one. By 20 Kelvin it's increasing, so it will be how much? 520 Kelvin. You have to find what? T2 prime. All right. Now let's see first the efficiency for the first case. So here you will write 1 minus what? T2 is how much? 300 by 500. So when you will cancel, what you will get? LCM is 5. 5 minus 3 is how much? 2. All right. Next you see 1 minus T2 by T2 prime by T1 prime. So E2 is equals to what? 1 minus T2 prime. T2 prime is we something that we need to find. T1 prime is 520. We know that E1 is equals to E2. I'm taking this to be equation 1. So from equation 1, what you can write? You can write what? 2 by 5. This is the efficiency of the first one. It is equals to what? 1 minus T2 prime by 520. All right. So you can write 2 by 5 minus 1. It is equals to what? T2 prime by this 520. 520. All right. So you can write what? T2 prime, it is equals to what? Here it will be 5. There is a minus sign here. So here it is what? Minus 1 minus will come here. 5 minus 2 is what? 3. Into with minus symbol and 1 520. Minus a will become plus. And when you will cancel this 5 ones is 5. And how much you will get? 0. 5 fours is 20. So when you will calculate these two terms, you will get 312. This is what? 312 is the T2 prime. Now you just said how much temperature of the shrink should be changed. What should be the change? You have to find the change. This is the temperature for the second case. The change you need to find. I'm doing it here only. Okay. Change will be how much? Delta T. Delta T will be equals to how much? Initially it was how much? 300. So here it will be 312. Increase now. So 312 will be subtracted by 300. So you will write delta T is equals to what? 12 Kelvin. So what is the change that should be made in the sink temperature? It is the temperature of the sink. It should be increased by what? 12 Kelvin. All right. So the correct option is option B. So the question was very simple. Carnot engine is there. The efficiency is same in both the cases. This first consideration, you are given the temperature of the sink and the source for the first case, and the temperature of the sink you need to find for the second case. Temperature of the source is given. All right. So finally, what you will do? You will just use the efficiency formula. You have to just compare it because both the efficiencies what equal, and just find the change. Clear? So now let's see the last question, question number 3. Here it is said a heat pump working on the Carnot cycle, it is maintaining inside temperature 22 degrees Celsius. Heat pump is there, it is working on a Carnot cycle. Inside temperature of the room, it's maintaining how much per house? 22 degrees Celsius, and it is supplying 450 kilojoule heat per second. Now it is said outside temperature is how much? 0 degrees Celsius. And then you have to say how much heat is taken from outside air. You see here, inside temperature means T1 is what? 22 degrees Celsius. All right. Now you see outside temperature T2 will be how much? 0 degrees Celsius. Q1 is given to you 450 kilojoule second inverse. You have to find Q2. All right. If you convert it into Kelvin, it will be 273 plus 22. This will be 273. Now you see, you already know that Q1 by what? Q2. It is equals to what? Q1 by Q2, it is equals to? We have already seen this particular formula. Q1 by Q2 is equals to T1 by T2. So from this, what we can write? Q2 is equals to Q1 into with T2 by T1. So Q2 is equals to Q1 is how much? 450. T2 is our 273 and T1 is 273 plus 22. So when you will do the simplification, you will get the answer to be approximately 417 kilojoule per second. This much amount of heat is taken from outside. So the correct option is option D. So we have almost covered the entire syllabus. This is question number 3. Okay, we have almost covered the entire syllabus of thermodynamics. We have only a few lectures left. So I would suggest you that whatever theory I have said, you need to note it down, do the problems which I have done, and also do some problems from other books. So that's all in this video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.